If you've made $1 billion or more, you've probably got a letter from Warren Buffett or Bill Gates asking you to sign the Giving Pledge and promise to give at least half of your fortune away. Steve and Jean Case are among those who've said yes.
You know, going back to what did our business lessons teach us, boy, the entrepreneurial spirit is a very powerful thing, and it can drive innovative solutions where they otherwise can't be seen. So bringing entrepreneurial spirit and sort of supporting entrepreneurship out there across the nation is a big part of what we do.
Yeah, that's part of the lesson we learned from not just AOL, but the internet coming of age. It really was a platform, it was a network. And it wasn't just any one thing, it was many things. And that's the same approach we brought to the Case Foundation. How do you create platforms for innovation, platforms for collaboration? So there's some foundations just focused on K-12 education or just focused on poverty and are very focused on particular things. We have a more of a strategic sense of how do we use some of these key pillars to drive change across many different sectors in partnership with many different organizations, some nonprofit, some for-profit businesses, as well as with governments.
Do you think the line between profit and non-profit is breaking down?
Yes, we're very excited about it. And so our role in impact investing has been really key. We've been a big part with a collaboration of championing the growth of that sector and going back to the entrepreneurial spirit, really calling on entrepreneurs. You know, the visual that I often think about when I think about addressing social challenges is a boat going down the river, a crew team, and we've had seats missing, and those seats missing have been our entrepreneurs. We haven't called them into the business of finding creative solutions to daunting challenges. So we're very excited by the social enterprises that are emerging, which are very serious, cool new businesses, you know, driven by entrepreneurs with an entrepreneurial passion, okay, to address social challenges. So they'll bring both a financial return and a social return. And so we're very enthusiastic about the future potential of that.
And we've seen this living in DC that 50 years ago, people would come to DC if they wanted to change the world because they believed the government might be a way to have that impact. And there's still some who do that. 25 years ago, people came because they wanted to start a nonprofit. They believed Teach for America or some other organization could have that kind of impact. Now a lot of people want to start companies. They realize that startups can change the world. Startups can have a profound impact. So we've seen this over time. The reality is all three of those sectors are needed, and they need to work together in tandem to solve some of the more difficult challenges and seize some of the great opportunities. And we've seen that also not just in this country, but around the world. One of the reasons we're hopeful and optimistic about Africa is now it's open for business. There's a sense of possibility there. There's a sense of innovation, entrepreneurship that's now driving the creation of companies that are solving problems and creating jobs and economic growth in the process.
Do you think we're still talking about a philanthropic impulse then, though, about when we're driving people to start companies?
You know what it is? It's really a passion for a mission. And so we often talk about for-profit and not-for-profit as nothing more than a tax status. These new social enterprises that are for-profit are mission-driven organizations that are really trying to have a social focus to bring a social benefit. And I think our roots in AOL, you know, what really made AOL successful in the beginning was just these were people on a mission to democratize access to information and ideas and communications. And that's how we were able to unseat big old companies that competed with us. That's what these social entrepreneurs are bringing to the party with these for-profit businesses, and it's very exciting to see.
I do think business, there's always been this mission aspect, and when we did start AOL 30 years ago this summer, only 3% of people were online, and they're only online an hour a week. So we said we wanted to get America online. We really were serious about trying to build not just a company, but the idea of the internet and make it a pervasive part of everyday life. But I think things have evolved, and the next generation, what some call the millennials, really do want this blend of profit and purpose. They don't want to just work for a company that's focused on this quarter. They want to work for companies that are making a difference. And so we're seeing the growth of impact investing. We're seeing the growth of social enterprise. And I think that's important. But there's always going to be a role for the philanthropic sector. There's always going to be a role for the government sector, as well as a role for the private sector, particularly the entrepreneurship sector within the private sector. And if we look at challenges, we need to bring all three of those together in a collaborative way. I think that's really going to be the future, not just thinking of these as independent silos.